Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Richard and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to do a trade summary of everything that I did over this past week and my current holdings at this time. And I'm splitting this off of my stock market outlook video just because that video has been getting longer and longer, up to 20 minutes. And I think it'd just be better to split everything up to two videos. So hopefully it's more digestible for you guys. So at this moment, I'm completely in cash. I sold my last position in NIO on this past Friday, and I'll go through all my trades of this past week and give my kind of analysis of how well I followed my rules and how well overall the trades were, and also the reasons behind my actions. So starting off with Lavongo, this is a position that I've held for quite a while since this retake of the 50 SMA, and we had earnings reporting after the market close on Wednesday the 28th. So overall, I had been holding. It had been trying to break out, but then just couldn't quite get over that kind of 150 mark. And then finally, it hit my raised stop, which was right below the 50-day moving average on this day right here. And I was out before the earnings report on this day right here. So overall, nothing wrong with this trade. I should have taken some more off back in around here instead of letting it fall all the way back. But overall, nothing wrong with this trade. And I actually did try to get back into Lavongo / TDOC. And I'll talk about that in just a second after the earnings report on this day. But overall, Lavongo, hell of a stock. I mean, this is a monster run right here. It's a shame that it got acquired by TDOC. Who knows where this thing would be right now if it hadn't been. So next up, we've got NET. And overall, this stock is holding up really well. You can see it's right near the 21 EMA at this time. And in my view, any stock near the 21 EMA and near all-time highs is one to keep on your watch list and is a potential true market leader once the overall market pressure lifts. So overall, you can see I've drawn in this downward trend line here. And before that, I had seen that I was holding the 10 EMA. And on this day, it took out the high of the previous day. And that was my trigger to buy the stock. But then obviously it closed below that kind of pivot. And then on the next day, I was stopped out for a small loss. So overall, fine trade. This is still kind of top of my list along with Snap and also Pins because these stocks are really showing something in this overall weak market. So moving on, we've got NIO, and I should have bought this on the break of the down trend line and teal dot on the 27th. And it also took out the 3 previous highs, which is another potential setup. But overall, you can see it's acting really well. You can see it broke that downward trend line on this day, then had a nice consolidation day, then broke out on the 29th, which is when I bought it as it broke through this period here at 29.40. And then on this day, I was being very conservative. I didn't really want exposure in this market, and I had moved up my stop, so I was stopped out for a small gain in this consolidation right here. So overall, it's doing nothing wrong at this point. I just want to be clear that it's really because of the market conditions that I moved up my stop to a small gain and got stopped out on this Friday. So NIO, once again, is a stock I'm watching very closely. There is the potential for a kind of clothesline here, so keep that in mind. But overall, this stock is acting fantastic and has a good story behind it as well. So next up, we've got SAIL, another stock that was holding up very well. And if we go to a weekly chart, you can see it was very tight before this week. So overall, I've been watching this stock, and I entered on the green dot setup, which is right near the 21 EMA and 10 EMA, which is good. And I plan to add to that position, which was a half position to start, as it broke out above these highs right here. But overall, you can see it had one move up day, but then the overall market got a little bit weaker, and I was stopped out of my position on this day right here. And now it's fallen all the way down to the 50 SMA, where at this moment, it's finding support. So overall, this is still going to be on my radar, but at this moment, there's no clear setup besides a bounce off the 50 SMA, and I don't like how quickly it fell down to the 50 SMA. So still a good trade. I think I had a good entry and kept my losses small, which is the name of the game. So next up, we've got Teledoc, and I tried to buy this after the strong earnings report between it and Lavongo. And overall, in the morning, it had a nice move up through the prior low, which was my trigger. And I bought it around here. And I thought it was going to be a successful trade and break out potentially that day. But then everything reversed due to the overall market pressure. And overall, the reaction to strong earnings is an excellent gauge for the health of the overall market. And I'll talk about that a little bit later in my stock market outlook video. But overall, you're seeing a lot of failures despite strong earnings reports from stocks like Shop. You can see it closed below the 50 SMA on higher volume that day, despite excellent earnings. So make sure you're reacting to the price action, not always just the numbers that come out. So anyway, going back to Teledoc, I was stopped out on that same day as it moved down. And overall, it really fell through the 50 SMA on this day, a clear sell signal. So I'm glad I got out with a small loss here. So overall, keep your losses small. That's the name of the game. That way you can stay alive and ready for the moments where you're really going to make a lot of money when the stocks and the overall market are trending above their 21 EMAs and 50 SMAs, like during this period right here. So moving on, we've got Tesla, and overall, going over to my trades, you can see I started buying as it retook the 50 SMA. I really like the action on this day, the retake of the 50 SMA, but I waited to the next day, and then I added to it as it moved up and had a green dot and retook the 21 EMA on this Tuesday, the 27th. But we had a gap down open, and I got stopped out of those ads right away at the open for a small loss, and then the rest of my position as well on that day. So overall, it wasn't doing anything wrong until really this Friday, but at this moment, it's moving down below the 50 SMA on higher volume than usual, although it's still not too high volume. So I could see this forming up the flat base here, which has a high of 502.49 and just kind of going sideways as the overall market corrects. So that is Tesla, still one to watch in my opinion, but definitely needs some consolidation after this huge move that's had this year. So lastly, we've got Zoom, and this is another stock that has had a monster run. And overall, I had a half position going into this week as I took some off on this day right here. And I was looking to add back another half after it kind of fell to the 21 EMA. So overall, I bought on this day right here as it took out the high of the previous day. This is called a wick setup as it breaks above the high of the previous day after kind of opening within this wick between the high and the close. Then you can see I got stopped out of that ad on this day right here as it closed in the bottom of the trading range. And this actually wasn't me getting stopped out. I actually sold that ad because I didn't like the action here. And it was acting beautifully. It was acting really well relative to every other stock. But you have to listen to the price action. And here you have a clear downside reversal. And you actually have kind of another bad day right here where it once again tried to gap up, but then moved down and closed right near the bottom of the trading range. And that's when I got stopped out of the rest of my position, which I'd held for quite a while. So this is another potential leader that's biting the dust, but I'll be looking to see how it acts near the 50 SMA. This stock has had another huge run this year, so it kind of deserves some consolidation, maybe form up another base and then be ready for another move up, or potentially it's just going to kind of go sideways for a while or even decrease, and instead new leaders will kind of take its place. So that is a quick summary of my trades. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you did, please go ahead and leave a like down below and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And make sure you guys tune in for the rest of my stock market outlook, which I'll be posting later today. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in future videos.